It's the Playhouse Podcast with Kat and JJ.
Believe it. I missed everything.
Missed the show?
What am I going to do?
Check out the Daily Podcast.
Hey, imagine your son is getting married. You're not going to try and upstage the bride. Oh, touche. We got a text from a listener who was at a wedding recently where the mother-in-law went to extreme lengths to upstage the bride. If you didn't hear it this morning, you got to catch up in the podcast. Coming up in a couple of seconds. Let's go.
We've got email.
Okay, we're going to read the email from Cassie. I'm pulling it up. Hold on. She was talking about how her 3-year-old daughter has been going to the same daycare for 2 years. She's very well taken care of, loves going. They'll pull up in the driveway. She'll clap. She's excited to be there.
Right on.
So that's always good. And then they do crafts, and the woman has cameras wherever the children are in those rooms. And she thinks that she might know the reason why they don't have the sound on the video feed.
Oh, let's go.
Our daughter has been coming home and saying the SH word and damn it. So she goes, we don't say that stuff in our house. And she's only ever with us or her. Those are the only two places she really goes. Her world is kind of small. And she says that she's saying it enough where her daughter obviously thinks that those are normal words. How do I handle it? One, some people might say, just thank your lucky stars that you have an amazing daycare provider. Some people might not be as lucky. I don't know.
I think it's the funniest thing in the world when
time.
kids swear. I find it absolutely joyful. To hear a 3-year-old girl say, damn it, is funny.
Especially if they use it the right way. Like if she stubs her toe or
She
something.
drops something. She goes, damn it. That's funny. I don't care.
Well, obviously they're making a conscious choice, Cassie and her husband, to not say those words at home for a reason. But Cassie, I don't know. Do I want to create an awkward environment? How long is she really going to be there? She's probably going to be there for another year. And
hard to blame someone for something you can't prove.
And this would be a good conversation to have with your 3-year-old. I don't know if they're cognitively there yet, but just saying, oh, you're so-and-so, whatever her daycare provider's name is. She said some grown-up words. We don't say those words, though. But that's going to teach her. There are going to be a lot of grown-ups that she's going to run into that say swear words.
You know what I think is interesting? That the 3-year-old didn't rat out the daycare yet. Because what do you say? If you heard your 3-year-old say the SH word,
Where'd
what would be
you
the
hear
first?
that?
Where's you? It's exactly the
So-and-so
first question.
says it. Yeah.
She hasn't ratted out the daycare lady yet.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. If it's so, you hear so many horrible stories about daycares that if you find a good one and your kid loves going there, do you want to rock the boat? Do you want to have a little conversation like, oh my God, my daughter, she said the craziest thing last night. She said, damn it.
That's the way to bring that up.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, we don't even say that stuff in our house. And then just stare at her. See if she's like, uh-oh. Maybe then she'll go, okay, I got to watch.
I'd be very interested to see if anyone else has had this situation where your kid came back from daycare or from summer camp or kindergarten, and all of a sudden they had a colorful way of saying things.
Or said or did something that was out of character, and you were like, I could probably trace that back to who it was coming from. But what would you do if you were Cassie?
You want to recap this email real quick?
Yes, it's from Cassie. Our 3-year-old daughter has been going to the same daycare for 2 years. She's very well taken care of, loves going. We'll pull up in the driveway. She claps. She runs inside. They do crafts, and the woman has cameras in every area where the children are. I might know the reason why she doesn't have sound with the video feed. Our daughter has been coming home saying the SH word and damn it. We don't say that stuff in our house, and she's only ever with us or her. And she says, is she saying it enough now where my daughter feels like it's a normal word? How do you handle it? So,
by the way, put yourself in a daycare provider's spot to not be cussing all the time. It seems abnormal. Now, I know it's not the best around our kids, but again, I find it very, very funny when little kids swear. It's always been the rule at our house is if you're going to say it, make it mean something, but never in church, never under your grandparents.
Yeah.
That's the rules.
So I think this might be, like I said, a really good idea to just sit down with your 3-year-old and say, so-and-so, she might say these big words. Those are adult words. We don't say them. So might be a teaching moment.
Amy, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. You been through something like this?
Yes, my daughter actually.
Okay. She came home saying, don't say it, but give us an indication what she came home saying.
Well, we actually were at the grocery store, and an elderly man was walking past us, and he dropped his eggs on the floor.
Oh, no.
and he said, "Oh, that H word." Yep, I wasn't going to say it. And my daughter kind of looked at me. She was about 3.5, and she didn't say it. But the next day, she was playing in her room, and she dropped something on her foot, and it hurt. And she went, "Osh," and it hurt her foot. And I started laughing.
How do you not?
And then I know, it's especially the first time they say it. It's so funny and cute. And so I turned my face then and regained my composure.
Yeah.
And said, we don't say those words. Those are adult words. And, and I remember the first time she actually said it in front of me, swore in front of me was, I don't remember what song it was, but it was years later, and she was just listening to the song and just jamming out to it, and she said it, and she put both hands in front of her mouth.
Got away from her.
And looked at me like, I'm busted.
Yeah. I thought it was so cute. Kat's son years ago would ask them, "Can I say this word?" And my kids never asked for permission to swear. It just one day it happened, and all my kids were athletes, and there's something about when you're in a group of athletes where your mouth becomes untethered, and it gets emotional, and it gets competitive. And I remember when our oldest first just started, it was never a gradual thing. It was just one day his entire vocabulary opened up. And my wife and I were like, what do we do here? So that was when we imposed the, hey, just don't say it around grandma, grandpa, and not in church. But I love that there's such little sponges that they can hear an old man at a grocery store and then pick that up. This is great. Thank you for chiming in.
Yep.
Have a great morning. Hi, Rachel. How you feeling?
Doing pretty good. How about you?
Good. Thoughts on this whole thing?
Yes. So I just agree with Kat. You should just talk to them every time you shouldn't shelter them. They're going to grow up and know those words anyways, their friends and stuff, and they're going to do it behind your back if you shelter them.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
When they're young, different words. Say, "Oh, shoot, darn it," and have kid cuss words that they can say in replace
kid cuss words. I've never heard this theory before.
Farting or something like that. And I don't think that punishing this child, they're just mocking, and that's what kids do at this age. You know, what they see is what they do. So.
Yes, and I cuss like a sailor, and so does my wife. So we implemented kids cuss words so they can feel like they're still growing up and stuff like that, but they're in an environment where they can say their kid cuss words. So if they hear me say a cuss word, they'll be like, "Yeah, that freaking sucks." And I'll be like, "Yeah, it does." And we can kind of be on the same level.
This is a great idea.
Oh yeah.
Is it? Did you come up with this, or did you steal it from someone else? Don't tell me you heard it on TikTok.
No, I came up with it myself. I have a lot of weird parenting hacks that I came up with myself. When I met my wife, she had 2 kids who were 2 and 3, and I never dealt with kids before. So I'd be like, "Hey, sit, stay," and then I had to learn different things.
Last week, someone lost an eye at bingo.
Bingo. Bingo what bingo?
Bingo. Bingo. All right, so here's how it works. Kat and I are each looking for somebody that's got a different story. Like, for instance, maybe you're somebody listening who
has stayed up the longest. This guy in New York has just earned a Guinness World Record by playing golf for 36 consecutive hours.
I'm a champion, I guess.
There you go.
I'm a world champion. You're a world champion.
Yeah. So, what was it? Originally, it was 24 hours, and then he's like, no, I could go for 32, and then he bumped it up to 36. He sounded pretty coherent there.
I get to that 3-hour mark and I start losing interest. I can't imagine playing golf for a day and a half straight.
You just go and go round and round and round. That would be pretty.
You know how many balls I would lose in 36 hours?
Right.
I'd need a case of them. I'm on the hunt for anyone listening who, with Father's Day here, never had a father figure. Was just never around for whatever the circumstance was.
Really sad.
If either of these fit, you call right now and you get the bingo. Amber, you're first through. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're great. Thanks for asking. Which one do you fit?
The fatherless one.
Oh, okay. What happened? I mean, where's Dad?
Well, Dad was around until I was about 5. My parents split up. They divorced. My mom met a man on fantasy football, and we left Oregon, came to Minnesota, kind of lost touch with Dad. I miss him dearly. But, yeah, I don't have.
Where is he now? I mean, with the internet, you should be able to find this guy, right?
Yeah, I've tried.
Did he know where your mom was taking you?
Oh, yeah.
And
they're just so they're both alcoholics.
Yeah.
So, like, it's really toxic. So, like, oh, your dad, left me because of you. And, like, they just, I don't know, talked a lot of nonsense about each other. And it really put a strain on our relationship.
I would think as a child, all you do is say, what's wrong with me that you don't want to be around me?
I have my own kids.
Yeah.
Right. I can't even talk to my mom anymore. Sorry.
Is that for the best,
But I got my kids.
You know, sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
She was horrible to me.
So there you go. It's okay to get rid of family members. If they don't bring anything but love and happiness and respect to your life, there's no reason to keep them around just because they're family.
What do you think you missed out most? Like, what did you miss most about not having Dad around?
Gosh, going hunting, hanging out with him, working on the cars, like just stuff like that. But, you know, alcohol and all that kind of took over for both of them, and they both chose relationships over the prioritizing the happiness of their kids.
If you could talk to Dad right now, like if we could find him, what would be the first thing you'd say to him?
You're like, I wish it was different. If I knew what was going on, if I could comprehend what was going on, I would fix it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have mattered. When someone has an addiction, it doesn't matter. And you were too young to even think about the fact that you could make a difference. And it's really sad because to hear the hurt in your voice, that is what parents' decisions can do to a child. And now you're an adult and it's still with you as an adult. So
do your kids ask about Grandpa at all? I mean, have you how do you describe this situation to them?
Gosh, I've shown them pictures of him with me when I was little and stuff. I'm like, this guy was really cool a long time ago, but he's not that anymore. And I wish they could have a relationship with him because they don't know Grandma and Grandpa on my side. Like, I can't be around them.
All you can do is just keep being a kick butt mom.
Yeah, it sounds like you're doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
absolutely.
Sorry, I didn't want to bring you to tears, but I'm glad you could share with us.
Oh, no. That was my bingo. Thank you.
I appreciate it. I hope you have a good day.
You think your topic was going to be joyful?
Well, no, I didn't think it was good. I guess I didn't really think it through too much. Hi, Barb. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good.
Guys?
Let's get a double bingo today. Which one do you fit?
I said cats.
Okay, so how long have you stayed up?
9 days.
Goo.
This can't be healthy.
Yeah, why? What kept you up for 9 days?
No, it wasn't. I have insomnia really bad because I used to work nights. And now my body doesn't let me sleep unless I have sleeping medicine.
So even though you took sleeping medicines and everything, like if you couldn't sleep for a week and a half?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do with all that extra time? I mean, did you build a spacecraft or something?
No, I sat there and watched movies, or I did diamond art, or I did something else, but it was like I couldn't sleep.
What's diamond art? Why do I not know? What is that? What is diamond art?
I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
You put these little beads on a sticky paper and it makes a picture.
Oh, that's why I didn't know what it was.
There you go.
Right, okay.
Now you know.
So, but 9 days, and your body has got to get ravaged by that.
It took a toll on my body, and then when I finally went to sleep, I was able to sleep 4 hours, and then I was back up again.
Jesus.
So you did nod off.
And what do you take now to be able to sleep?
Days.
Yeah.
Like, do you do Ambien or something like that?
You take some Tonin?
No, I take Lunesta and Unisom and ZQuil.
Together?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Holy crap. All right. Ill-advised, but whatever works for you. Thanks, Barb.
Last week, someone lost an eye at bingo.
Bingo what bingo?
Bingo! All right, so here's how it works. Kat and I are each looking for somebody that's got a different story. Like, for instance, maybe you're somebody listening who
Who has stayed up the longest? This guy in New York has just earned a Guinness World Record by playing golf for 36 consecutive hours.
I'm a champion, I guess.
There you go.
I'm a world champion.
You're a world champion.
So what was it? Originally it was 24 hours. And then he's like, no, I could go for 32. And then he bumped it up to 36. He sounded pretty coherent there.
I get to that 3-hour mark and I start losing interest. I can't imagine playing golf for a day and a half straight.
You just go and go round and round and round. That would be pretty.
You know how many
boring.
balls I would lose in 36 hours?
Right.
I'd need a case of them. I'm on the hunt for anyone listening who, with Father's Day here, never had a father figure. Was just never around for whatever the circumstance was.
Really sad.
If either of these fit, you call right now and you get the bingo. Amber, you're first through. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're great. Thanks for asking. Which one do you fit?
The fatherless one.
Oh, okay. What happened? I mean, where's Dad?
Well, Dad was around until I was about 5. My parents split up. They divorced. My mom met a man on fantasy football, and we left Oregon, came to Minnesota, kind of lost touch with Dad. I miss him dearly. But, yeah, I don't have.
Where is he now? I mean, with the internet, you should be able to find this guy, right?
Yeah, I've tried.
Did
He's in
he
Montana.
know? Did he know where your mom was taking you?
Oh yeah,
and
they're just so they're both alcoholics.
Yeah.
So like it's really toxic. So like, oh, your dad left me because of you, and like they just I don't know, talked a lot of nonsense about each other, and it really put a strain on our relationship.
I would think as a child, all you do is say, "What's wrong with me that you don't want to be around?"
I mean, I have my own kids.
Yeah.
Right. I can't even talk to my mom anymore. Sorry.
Is that for the best?
But I got my kids.
You know, sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
She was horrible to me.
So there you go. It's okay to get rid of family members if they don't bring anything but love and happiness and respect to your life. There's no reason to keep them around just because they're family.
What do you think you missed out most? Like, what'd you miss most about not having Dad around?
Gosh, going hunting, hanging out with him, working on the cars, like just stuff like that. But, you know, alcohol and all that kind of took over for both of them, and they both chose relationships over the prioritizing the happiness of their kids.
If you could talk to Dad right now, like if we could find him, what would be the first thing you'd say to him?
You're like, I wish it was different. If I knew what was going on, if I could comprehend what was going on, I would fix it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have mattered. When someone has an addiction, it doesn't matter. And you were too young to even think about the fact that you could make a difference. And it's really sad because to hear the hurt in your voice, that is what parents' decisions can do to a child. And now you're an adult and it's still with you as an adult. So
do your kids ask about Grandpa at all? I mean, have you how do you describe this situation to them?
Gosh, I've shown them pictures of him with me when I was little and stuff. I'm like, this guy was really cool a long time ago, but he's not that anymore. And I wish they could have a relationship with him because they don't know Grandma and Grandpa on my side. Like, I can't be around them.
All you can do is just keep being a kick butt mom.
Yeah, it sounds like you're doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
absolutely.
Sorry, I didn't want to bring you to tears, but I'm glad you could share with us.
Oh, no. That was my bingo. Thank you.
I appreciate it. I hope you have a good
You
day.
think your topic was going to be joyful?
Well, no, I didn't think it was good. I guess I didn't really think it through too much. If you've gone through a wedding, well, then this might hit kind of close to home.
So 2 weekends ago, we just got this text with a picture, one of those sneaky pictures from
Where you hold it down by your waist?
Her name is Mayla. Yeah, she was a couple of rows back. She goes, you guys need to use this as a conversation because we can't believe what this mother of the groom wore. She wore a veil.
Oh, my God. This
Isn't that crazy?
Ridiculous.
She wore a veil, and this goes over her shoulders. And
God, it's all about you, isn't it?
One of the groom's cousins was like, you know, why does she have that on? And someone said it was for religious reasons. And they said, this woman is in no way religious.
She's Lutheran. Like, this is
what was it? Normally, you wear a veil to hide your emotions, or it is a religious reason. But she wore a veil. Who knows? Like, was it to mourn something?
To mourn the losing of her son to that evil, wicked woman.
It was totally done, to set. I don't know.
Is it a fashion
to make sure
statement?
Something was known. No, a veil.
Anybody upending the bride at a wedding?
It's like a crimson veil.
You're a piece of garbage.
Blood. It wasn't a white veil. She didn't wear a white dress.
What if Derek's mom would have shown up at your wedding wearing something like that? What would have you done?
Yeah, I would have.
I would have said something.
I know you would have. I would have probably left it to you. But if you do anything at anyone's wedding other than just act accordingly, that is how they're starting their married relationship off. And it will be friction.
I would love to take calls on this real quick. Were you at a wedding where the bride got upstaged?
Yeah.
I was invited. I worked country radio once, and this is the weirdest wedding I was ever to. But the listeners of this radio station were so passionate, which is great when you get people that really, really care about what you're doing and they feel like you're their friends and stuff like that. But both of the people that were getting married loved all the DJs on this radio station so much that they invited us to their wedding.
Yeah.
And so my boss, I'm immediately like, I don't know this person. I'm not going. They're just fishing for money. Right. And I'm like, I have so much to do, which I didn't have anything to do because we didn't even have a family by then. And he's like, we're all going. We're all going to go. And we drove the radio station van, had the logo on it and everything like that. And we pre-partied and stuff. But it was a BYOL. It was a bring your own lawn chair wedding.
Yep.
And it was out in the middle of nowhere. And it was the most hillbilly thing I had ever been part of.
I bet, though, it made their life. Like, they still talk about it to this day.
And we gave them this big box from all of us that had all this, like, radio station stuff in it. Like, here's some T-shirts and can koozies and stuff like that. And then we gave them, like, $100 or something like that. But there was troughs with beer in it. And the food was all prepared on the guy's smoker. So we had like smoked a pig the day before. Okay. And so the food wasn't bad, but it was so weird. And I kind of felt like we were upstaging the bride a little bit, as being taking like, it was like 6 of us there. And everybody was like, oh, they're all here from the radio station. Let's talk to him. Let's talk to her and stuff like that. And I was like, that's just weird. But have you ever been to a wedding where the bride was clearly upstaged by something?
And this was not a good upstage. I remember going to one of the girls that I went to college with. She got married, but her mom was like a Malibu Barbie. Beautiful, tan, manicured. And her dress was the highlight of the night. Nobody looked at the bride. And I felt so bad for my friend. But her mom knew what she was doing. You could have wore a shawl, but she knew.
The father-in-law rolled in a monster truck. Something happened at a wedding where the bride got totally upstaged. Fridays are always big in the Playhouse. DJ Johnny D will be here with a couple of old school mixes, one at 7, one at 8. And just after we get done with the 8 o'clock mix, you're going to grab our final pair of tickets to check out The Weeknd at U.S. Bank Stadium Saturday night. That's all during the live show Friday morning. Right now, let's wrap up the podcast. How you feeling?
I'm great. How are you?
Things are good. Today is National Cougar Day.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's all these, every day's got a day, but it's Cougar Day. Do you know anyone that's a genuine cougar?
I could be. Now that I've reached the age that I am, if I were interested in anyone younger than me, I could do it. I feel fly
you
enough.
Just keep talking yourself into it. But do you know anyone that actually fits the mold of being a cougar?
I think I did, but until she got a boyfriend, but like Chris. She was probably a cougar.
Probably, yeah. There's things that fits the mold. Well, and what really makes you the cougar? Is it necessarily your look? Is it your attitude? Or is it just the
vibe.
Fact that you're looking for a younger dude to keep you young?
I think it's the confidence, too, where you could just walk into a room of like frat guys and just in your mind say, I could have my pick of the litter.
Now, a guy my age walks into a room of sorority sisters. It's pervy. A woman.
You do a face, though,
Not. I'm not saying me in particular. Find a middle-aged dude that is looking for a 20-something girl. That is a crazy double standard, and yet we celebrate it. There is no
ambulance
gold digger day. So I'm going to examine the cougar lifestyle. Do you know anyone that is a genuine cougar? If so, I want you to join the show coming up here at about 6:30, and I want to take calls on that. What'd you do yesterday? Anything fun?
Ran some errands, just getting ready for the big festival this weekend in town. But today is my anniversary.
Oh, yeah. Happy anniversary. So 13 or 14?
14.
14 years of wedded bliss.
Yes. So I always deduct a year to see how old Liam is. So he was born like 11 months after. No, a year and 1 month after we got married.
Okay.
So that is the only way I remember.
And how will you celebrate today? Do you have anything fun
We
planned?
are not. Like the next 72 hours are just wild. And I said, listen, Father's Day, I'm going to get you a giant steak. And that's the way to my man's heart,
Sure.
through his stomach. So I'm going to make him a steak, a twice-baked potato, some asparagus, the fixins. And then he'll forget that I've totally ignored him this week. And, so I'm
you think he's sometimes happier that you're not in his business so much?
I don't know. The fact that you remind him of that might help. But I look at it like, listen, we might forget our anniversary, but every day is like an anniversary. We just fall back in love every day.
Again, what a double standard. A woman can say that, but if a guy forgets the anniversary and says, but every day is an anniversary, honey. No.
He
that
did
isn't
get
going to
me
work.
flowers and a nice gift. And a card. I got to get him at least a card because I just...
Don't get him a card. Get him something he'll... What do you, read it and throw it away? Cards are so stupid.
I don't
so
appreciate
stupid.
cards. That's true. I love the sentiment and the fact that I could read it real quick. And
what does he want? What does he need? Get him something fun.
What does he need?
You know what he
ask the man that has everything.
He probably needs a new putter, or he needs like a golf glove, or some golf balls, or he needs maybe some new shoes, or
that one. He would love a new pair of Nikes.
Or like, listen, you know what your man needs, but he won't ever say it. He needs socks. He needs underwear, and that too, right? Jesus, you are just a piece of work.
I just got him new underwear. What else does he want?
We had to beep out you saying it yesterday, and now you're going back at it. I wonder what your infatuation is. What was your flex when you were younger? You're, let's say, 13 or 14, and you're amongst all your friends. What was your financial flex? What made you feel like you were like of the socially and financially elite when you were 13? What would you tell your friends?
I'd say 12, 13, my mom was the only one with a cell.
Oh.
The cell phone came with a briefcase because that's how it charged.
Sure.
But she was the only one. And then I'd take my teeth and I'd pull up the antenna and I'd flip it down. It was black and it had the green button.
Got to do it with your teeth.
Yeah.
Well,
and I was like, yeah, I'm going to go call somebody from my mom's car because she has a cell phone. They're like, what? Oh, my God.
Right. That's impressive. I got to tell you about the new flex. So my daughter, one of her summer jobs, she'll be a senior in college next year, and then she'll go away to med school. But one of her summer jobs is this internship working with a training program in a local community where they train young athletes. Mm-hmm. And she's on the physical therapy side of this. And she was telling me about this when she came home yesterday. She's like, you can't believe the way these kids talk. And the group yesterday that they were training were 13 to 14-year-olds.
Okay.
And one of the guys that she works with is like, I'm really surprised at how unathletic some of these kids are because I think they just have so much screen time. But you got to hear the story. So they were getting done with whatever. They were all doing planks to see who got the Gatorade, right? Whoever can hold the plank the longest is going to get the Gatorade that day, right? It's kind of a fun thing at the end. And the one kid dropped to his knees immediately and stood up. Like he didn't want to be part of it.
Yeah.
And my daughter's like, oh, you're not even going to try? And he goes, no, we just got another wake boat because we had 2 docks, so we had to get a second wake boat for it. So I'm just waited for my dad to come pick me up.
But had to put all that in there. That's so funny.
That was the 12, 13-year-old flex yesterday. And my daughter goes, wait, you have 2 wake boats? And he goes, well, yeah, we have 2 docks.
Duh.
And my daughter's like wanting to ask, like she didn't want to get too personal, but it's like, what the hell does your dad do for a living that you have? And this is in the community this kid lives in, very affluent, right? Like it's not, hey, we bought a wake boat, the first series that was made 25 years ago, and my dad just is a fixer-upper. No. This is their second new wake boat, and they had to get it because they have 2 docks.
They bought it from a dealership, not Facebook Marketplace.
Right.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So I was thinking, like, I didn't grow up in a wealthy family at all. The only flex I ever had was my dad would kick your dad's ass. My dad's a special forces guy.
Yeah.
And he'll beat the piss out of your dad. That was the only flex I ever had.
Okay.
Because I didn't have any money.
The literal flex of muscle.
That's what little boys do too. But my dad will beat up your dad.
Yeah.
And I was always like, no, my dad will kill your dad. Like he will actually rip his esophagus out. But what was your flex when you were a little kid? Like you're amongst all your friends. What was your financial flex? The cell phone's a great example because, God, the first cell phone I was ever even around was probably 20 years after you had one.
Mm-hmm.
But what was your flex when you were a little kid? These are kind of fun to go down. I mean, maybe mom and dad had a cabin on the lake. Maybe mom and dad had a Porsche. Maybe mom had a grand piano.
My mom had a convertible.
See?
That was kind of a flex when she brought me to school.
A financial flex.
My hair was all crazy, but it was worth it.
Some dude said, hey, there's obvious tension between Bill Belichick's new fiance and his ex-wife. What if I said, you could celebrity box and we'd make a whole bunch of money out of it? Obviously, it's not going to happen, but it got us thinking, think about your last fiance.
Mm-hmm.
Would have you ever wanted to fight his new girlfriend?
His new girlfriend?
Or his new wife?
No. Good riddance. But the ex I had a really great relationship with. So they had a kid together. And I was like, I'm not going to be that one that just like makes everything.
Did she ever want to fight you?
I don't know.
What if she would have?
She and I hung out a lot. And then we bonded. It was almost like a trauma bond where you're like, oh my God, you went through that. And I had the blinders on.
Yeah, you were still dating the guy.
Well, she was warning me like a good girl. Like she was a girl's girl warning me. And I didn't like run back to him like, oh, she's telling me this. But once it started happening to me, I'm like, why would I think this leopard wouldn't change his spots? And I should have listened. Sometimes you should just listen, You go through maybe a breakup and he starts dating somebody else.
Mm-hmm. You ever wanted to fight someone like that? As soon as we brought it up, Amanda called, and I appreciate you hanging with us, and holding for a little while. Tell us about this thing. You want to fight her?
So here's what happened. Unfortunately, I went through a divorce a couple of years ago.
Okay.
But we have kids together. So, our arrangement is such that I drop the kids off every other weekend at his place. They get to spend time with their dad, and then I have them during the week.
Okay.
And he has this new wife, which is, great. That's fine. But every time I go drop the kids off, he always has something to say. And, I feel like at this point in my relationship with my ex-husband, we're pretty civil. I wish him the best. And we still are raising kids together. But for her to kind of target me, I feel, and say all these things under her breath every time I drop off my children to the father of my children is just kind of ridiculous. And I think it's childish, frankly.
I wonder why she thinks she can do that. I wonder why. Does he talk about you? Probably.
Of course he does. If she's saying things, then she knows the window's wide open. But let's get down to the physical thing. Let's just say you guys did put the gloves on and you got the headgear on and we were laying bets at this fight. Could you take her?
Oh, listen. She's already been taken, okay?
Oh.
I have got that on lock, okay? This is something I think about all the time in my ample spare time.
Yeah.
I would love to drop kick her because...
She's all right.
The way she disrespects me, I got a lot of pent-up anger and a lot of pent-up rage, all right?
It doesn't sound like it at all.
There's nothing like female rage.
Oh, you're kidding. Today we celebrate one of the biggest double standards in our society, the cougar. If you're a 50-year-old guy and all you want to do is date hot 24-year-old girls, you're a piece of garbage. But if you're a 50-year-old chick and all you want to do is date hot 25-year-old guys, we celebrate your cougar status today. Do you know someone in your life that has got real cougar credibility?
I did know someone that I thought had it until she got a boyfriend and
ruined all that.
Ruined it all. But no, she just carried herself like she was at an age where you have such confidence, and confidence is so sexy. And so she did that, and it was just like,
I think it would be exhausting to date somebody half your age. Like, what do you have in common besides when the lights go out?
I think it's more exhausting for a man to date a younger girl than a woman that's older to date a younger male. I think just because I hear after a certain age, like 45, 50, that you get this like second wind almost. And if you have someone that wants to do all these fun things, you know, I hear a lot of women leave their older men or their husband at a certain age because their men just want to sit around and not do anything. And then they get their second wind and they want to go, let's go to bingo, let's go to pickleball, let's go do all this stuff. And they don't want it.
One of the things that a lot of women don't realize is like you hit a certain age, your testosterone plummets. Like as a guy, like you've spent your first 50 years going hard. Like you were getting after it. And then all of a sudden you're like, I think I want to just relax. And something happens chemically that's a little bit different. But let's celebrate the cougar here real quick. And Gretchen, you know somebody that fits this?
One of the nurses I work with, she met this younger guy. And this lady, I think, was like 38 or 39. And she met this guy. He's like 23.
Oh.
So,
okay.
Some major cougarage right there.
Big cougarage.
I honestly, you know, I've dated younger guys. Not like crazy young, but I've dated a couple that were maybe like 5 or 6 years younger than me.
Not terrible.
It's okay.
And, you know, honestly, at that point, I realized some of them were just as, you know, immature as some that were like in their late 30s that I've dated.
That's fair.
So I think it just really depends on the connection, and it depends on, you know, each person's so different. So I have no problem with age. Like, age really doesn't affect me.
Let's do this, Kat. If you weren't married, and I know it's weird to talk about on your anniversary, but what would be the youngest you could date?
I could date someone that is 30.
So 10 years.
But then there's that Anne Hathaway movie where she falls in love with a 24-year-old pop star. And it is it's so hot. And it makes all 40-year-old women go, I could snag that. I could do that.
I could do better.
I could do that. I've always dated older men. Derek is 6 years older. The oldest I went was 20 years older than me. And someone.
And you were, what, 14 at the time?
Someone slid into my DMs the other day. I'm going to have you read it. And you're going to be like, oh, my God.
Really?
It's someone that you were talking to the other day. And he's in his 60s.
No way.
So,
and it was like flirtatious?
You have to read this.
Oh, my God.
I don't want to put him on blast because I think it's really a sweet thing. And I think he's a nice guy. But it was unexpected.
And how did that make you feel?
Like, it made me feel good. Not where I'm like, oh, I'm going to leave my husband. But it was like, okay. Yeah, I didn't look too bad.
Did it make you feel weird?
No, it didn't make me feel weird.
Oh, you're going to let me read it right now?
Yeah. So he found, I didn't tell him what my handle was. He found me. He searched me out. Do not say his name because he is married. Do not say his name.
Wow.
I know.
This is scandalous.
Okay.
What?
Okay.
That's got some undertones to it.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I kept it real chill because I'm a married woman. I just said, thank you so much for the compliment. Great to meet you. But like, I'm not going to say that it didn't make me feel like good. It was like, oh, that's really sweet. That's really nice. But I'm married. So that's why I kept it.
That's weird.
Kept it chill.
Today, we celebrate Kat's 14 years of wedded bliss.
Oh, yes. What a ride.
How much longer do you think you can actually make it?
Like before I die or before
with
I
what
leave
you
him?
say about your husband, you know, during commercial breaks and during songs. Like
he doesn't believe you.
I can't believe you guys would make 15 years. What? How about your parents? Did they get you anything?
No.
What?
We haven't even had a message in the group.
What are you
text.
supposed to get for 14 years? Do you know? Have you looked it up?
From other people?
Yeah, like there's a
you don't
thing.
Get
like,
anything from other people.
Yeah, you're supposed to get paper for your first one, and then I think at like 50, you're supposed to get like diamonds.
Your spouse. You don't get it from somebody else.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, so what are you supposed to give Derek today? I know you didn't get him an actual wedding anniversary gift. He did for you, which he's a thoughtful guy.
The traditional for 14 year is something ivory or gold.
Ivory or gold. All right.
Ivory or gold.
Oh, get him one of those Run DMC necklaces.
I'll get him an ivory soap bar.
You're such a tool.
Right.
So as you celebrate 14 years of wedded bliss, I've been married for 26 years. Neither of us have been on the dating scene for a long, long time, but flashback to when you were dating.
Mm-hmm.
What was your biggest fear when you go out on a first date?
So I wrote down different ages and what I was probably worried about. So when I was dating, when I was like 16, like in high school, don't eat.
No.
You don't eat because then you can avoid having anything in your teeth, a smelly breath. And you maybe eat like half a side salad. You know, you don't want to look
dainty.
Yeah, look demure. Early 20s, matching bra and panties order. Now, I'd have to make sure I had extra panties. Did I shave everywhere? Did I brush the back of my tongue? The older you get, the more things you have to like maintain and like have together.
I remember dating, as a young man, I always cared about, was your car clean? Did your car smell good? Or is everything tucked in?
Yeah.
You got stuff like that. But honestly, if I had to start dating right now, the only one thing I would fear on a first date is I'd sit down with her and she was really, really woke.
That would be rough.
I'm not saying you can't be, and that's good for you. It's bad for me.
There's a level of understanding. Like I could go with the flow with how somebody feels, but if it's pushed upon me and it's the only conversation we have, then you got to.
And that's when you find your person, right? When what's funny to you is what's funny to them. But if I sat down and we ordered and I just joked with them and they didn't laugh and they looked at me and they're like, I'm sensitive to that. I'd just be like, that's it. It's on you. See you later. Pay the bill.